Alright guys, this is it, my annual best albums of the year list, and we're here at the end of 2013. It's been an excellent year musically, and before I get started, I just want to mention that I'm going to have a link down in the description box that takes you straight to my blog, where it's going to have a really big feature on this, as well as lists from 7 other of my friends. Be sure to check it out. Very cool. There's links to check it out, to purchase it and stuff. And one thing really cool this year, besides being a great year for music, is that the diversity between all of my friends' lists. I think there's one album that made 4 out of the 8 lists. So it just goes to show how much great stuff there was out there. I limited everyone to 10 albums. I think it's just getting a little bit out of control, you know, with making decisions. I think you need to let's just put it at 10 and commit to it. So, but before I do that, I want to show a couple things that releases that didn't make my top 10 list, but they're from some lesser known artists that I think are definitely deserving of your attention. The first one I'm going to talk about is Steve Kilbey and Martin Kennedy's You Are Everything. Steve Kilbey from the band The Church, Martin Kennedy from the band All India Radio. This is a really cool, I think this is their 3rd or 4th collaboration. Really excellent. I don't believe this one is available on vinyl. I'm not 100% positive on that. But these guys have a great collaboration going on. Music is really nice, and Steve Kilbey's just rich baritone over it. It's just a really cool release, and sad that it couldn't be put in the top 10, but definitely worthy of your attention, so be sure to check that one out. My second honorable mention that I want to show here is actually one that's really close to home, because this is an EP from Luke Bechner. It's called Let It Fly. I started teaching him guitar lessons when he was about 10 or 11 years old, all the way up until he was about 17 or 18, and then he moved away to Texas, and he is on his way to being a really successful country pop songwriter, performer. And this is his EP. It's 5 songs. Let It Fly came out this year. He's gotten to play with Keith Urban already and stuff, so I'm super proud. Does a really good cover of America's Sister Golden Hair on that one. So be sure to check out some great things coming from Luke here in the future. And I think, back here you see Zola Jesus' versions. Now, this has seriously been one of my favorite releases of 2013, but according to my own rules, I have to kind of disqualify it from making it, because the fact that it features new versions of previously released songs, so it kind of doesn't quite fit in with the new release of 2013, but phenomenal record. Definitely should be something you're checking out. And then lastly, Charles Bradley, Victim of Love. Definitely a great, if you watch my Friday on the Turntable video, and a lot of these in my top 10, I did Friday on the Turntable features on. So he was discovered when he was in his early 60s, put out his first album, I think, when he was 62. Got to meet him, super nice, humble, appreciative guy. And this is his 2nd album on Daptone, Victim of Love. Excellent. Also sad not to be able to put that one in the top 10. So those are some honorable mentions. There's also been great releases from some other bands, but I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to spoil the surprise of what you think is in my list and what's not. So coming in at number 10 is an album from an artist that's been around for a really long time. From the Boys Next Door to the Birthday Party to Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. This is Push the Sky Away. This came out this year. And I'm also going to show my other edition. You guys may have seen this in an earlier video of mine this year, but this is the CD Deluxe Edition. And I actually got to meet Nick and got his signature right there. So it's a bit different, I think, than the previous album. What was that one called? Dig Lazarus Dig. I like this one a lot better. It has, it's more down-tempo, and I just think it's a really excellent release, and my 10th favorite album of 2013 for sure. All right, in at number 9, this is the record that made 4 of the 8 contributors lists, and it's their debut album. This is the UK band Savages, their debut album, Silence Yourself. Did a Friday on the Turntable feature on them. post-punk, all-female band. Refreshing, intense, and exciting. And yeah, it's got elements of Joy Division, Bauhaus, Susie and the Banshees, Throbbing Gristle, I don't know. It's really intense, and it's seeing them live took the album to another level for me. And so I'm putting it in here at number 9, Savage's Silence Yourself. Number 8, those of you who follow my blog regularly here, you'll notice that I just featured this one last week on my Friday on the Turntable feature. This is Chelsea Wolfe's 4th album, Pain is Beauty. Stellar release. Female artist. This is the gatefold edition here. If you want to hear more about it, check out that last episode that I did. Her voice is beautiful. The music is droney, and it's intense, it's emotional, and sad, and it's a great release. And yeah, definitely for sure. This is out on Sargent House Records. So that is my number 8 pick. That's Chelsea Wolfe, Pain is Beauty. In at number 7, this one just came from out of nowhere this year. This guy has been around for a really long time. He's one of my absolute favorite artists of all time. His last album came out 10 years ago. He was in a really decade-long hibernation as far as the public knew. And just put out a single, just bam, and a video just like that earlier in the year. And that's David Bowie's The Next Day. Yeah, what can you say about David Bowie? He is a cultural icon, a musical icon, and I'm just happy that I've had discovered him in my teenage years, and his albums have been with me for a really long time. And a lot of people are saying, you know, this is his best album since Scary Monsters. I don't fully agree with that. There is an album that came out in 1995 of his called Outside that I think is just his best work probably in the last 30 plus years. But that's not to say this isn't an excellent album, because it is. The track Where Are We Now, which is the one that he just released out of nowhere, is great. The track Heat, which is very Scott Walker-ish, excellent. And the vinyl version has 3 bonus tracks. This is just a great package. I'd highly recommend, if you're a vinyl collector, to pick this one up before it goes out of print. It comes with the CD and everything. But yeah, David Bowie, The Next Day, that is in at number 7. And he just released an EP as well, which has some extra tracks, some different versions of songs. And I'm not usually a fan of remixes, but the version of Love Is Lost that's on the remix EP is really stellar. So that's Bowie, The Next Day, in at number 7. Now, you guys know I'm serious if I'm gonna put some stuff ahead of David Bowie. So you know if I'm gonna throw this out there, that this stuff I am toting here is excellent. So this next one that comes in may surprise some people. Number 6, a debut album from a female artist. It came out, I think, back in November, and the physical release of it has been delayed, and I think it actually comes out January 7th. And her stuff, this album, I got it digitally, and so I will show a copy of the printed out cover. But there's just something about this artist that I like people like Robin, although this person is a bit more dark. And I think she's going to have a great career. And this album, from beginning to end, I can't believe upon the first listen how just hooked into it I was. And I think these songs, the songwriting, everything about it is really excellent. So you guys may be surprised about this one, but this is Skye Ferreira. This is Nighttime, My Time. And I'm really looking forward to getting this on vinyl. But, you know, to name favorite tracks off this one, usually I do 3, you know, for albums, but man, 24 Hours, Nobody Asked Me, I Blame Myself, You're Not the One, Nighttime, My Time. Those are the highlights of the album, but I think from beginning to end, there's not a weak track on it. Skye Ferreira, you'll be hearing a lot more about this one, and it just snuck in there towards the end of the year, so I think it was not on a lot of people's radar. That's in at number 6. Number 5, you know, 2013 was the year of some, like, long overdue albums from bands, and this one is a group that I've been a fan of since their first album came out in 1990, and their third album came out in 96, so it's actually been 17 years since the release of this one. The singer released a couple solo albums, and the band did some touring, but this is the first. A couple years ago, they released a single, and those two songs actually appear on the album. But anyways, this is Mazzy Star, Seasons of Your Day, and it's appropriate that there's a cat on this because my cats are over there wrestling. You probably heard a scream going on over there. But this is Seasons of Your Day. This is excellent. It's not groundbreaking for Mazzy Star, but then again, I'm not expecting Mazzy Star to come out with a dubstep record or something like that. It is what it is. They do what they do excellently. And Hope Sandoval's voice is incredible. David Roback, formerly of the Rain Parade, Opal, stellar release. I'll show you the vinyl on this one because it is purple and a lot of people have shown it before, but I want to show it again because it's just so beautiful. Mazzy Star, Seasons of Your Day. That's my 5th favorite album of 2013. So in at number 4, this is one that immediately, another one that upon first listen, I was just like, I can't believe how great this is. And it's actually the band's 12th album, and it's actually one of their absolute best albums of their entire career, dating back to, I think their first album was from 1980. So when a band, 33 years later puts out what, in my opinion, what is one of their best albums of their entire career, that really is a testament to the excellence of the guys. So this is OMD, English Electric. This album is so great. You probably, if you watch my channel, I played this in one of the Saturday Night Music Club episodes with my pals here. And this album, and then they resurrected the die-cut sleeve that they actually used on their self-titled debut. What can I say about this album? OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, synth-pop music. It's a real harkens back to the 1980s, but there are just, from beginning to end, it is killer. Helen of Troy was my favorite song, but you got Night Cafe, Metroland, Stay With Me, Kissing the Machine, Dresden. Excellent. That's number 4, OMD's English Electric. All right, guys, so now we're into the top 3. All right, number 3. I have to tell you, these top 3 records were really hard to kind of place together because any one of them could easily have been number 1. But when I get to number 1, I'll explain why that one is number 1 and why that takes the cake. Number 3, this band's 7th album. This is Placebo, Loud Like Love. Love this band. I've seen them live 5 or 6 times. This is a definite welcome return. The album that preceded this one, Battle of the Sun, I thought just was not on the level of their earlier stuff, and they really came back strong with Loud Like Love. Beginning to end, it just keeps getting better and better with each listen, and I think that's a good sign of a great album. Title track, Loud Like Love, Too Many Friends, Million Little Pieces, Exit Wounds, and the closing track, Bosco. I did a Friday of the Turntable feature on this one, if you guys watched that one, so if you want to check that out some more, Placebo, Loud Like Love. And I should also mention, I'm putting together a Spotify playlist as well, so you guys can listen to some of these songs from these albums and sample it. So that'll be also linked and connected onto my blog there. All right, number 2. Another band similar to the David Bowie story. They were their last album came out in 2002. It was, and wow, they came back with such a bang on this one. The singer has put out several solo albums and a side project with the original guitar player from this band called The Tears. They put it out, I think it was back in 2005. And so I was just blown away when this album came out, and just how much, how great it is to have Suede back. The songwriting, Bret Anderson's voice just sounds great. It's while I did like Head Music and I did like A New Morning, like a lot of people didn't, this album is almost like the sequel to 96's Coming Up. It just fits in perfectly after that. This is Import. It's a single record set, 10-track album. Hit Me, It Starts and Ends With You, For the Strangers, beginning to end, excellent. And then Suede has always been a band that's been known to have great B-sides, like a lot of British bands do. And I have to mention that there's a track that was recorded for this album, and it was put as a B-side to the Hit Me single called Falling Planes, and that song is brilliant. And if I remember correctly, that's going to be linked in the Spotify playlist if it was available. I can't remember now, but if not, there will be some tracks from this album. Stellar. Suede. Blood Sports is the title of that one. All right, so now we're at number one. Now, what constitutes a number one record, in my opinion? The Suede album or the Placebo one could have easily been number one for me, but at the end of the day, I think what's most important is the album really has to have some sort of an emotional connection with me, musically as well as lyrically. And I think what this number one album does is it really encapsulates a real lyrical intensity that just kind of hits really, really deep. I was driving around listening to this this morning in the rain, and had some emotional situations going on, and realized how fitting this album is for right now. And it made me think of what my number one pick was for 2012, which I want to just show you guys to revisit it. But last year I chose Bill Fay's Life is People as my number one album because of what it says lyrically, and I think it's a real emotional outpouring, and I think in a lot of ways it what it says is resonates with society. It resonates with me individually, and it's just intense. That's all I can really say. So my number one pick of 2013 is something that ended up not being available on vinyl, and that is Perils from the Sea by Mark Kozlik and Jimmy LaValle. Mark Kozlik was originally a member of Red House Painters. He was the singer. He's also the guy from Sun Kil Moon. He's super prolific, and the fact that he put out, I think, three albums this year. He did one with Desert Shore. He also did an album of all covers and multiple live albums. And Jimmy LaValle from the musical group called the Album Leaf. Perils from the Sea. It's an album that it's just one of those that just keeps revealing itself layer after layer. And it's so different from his normal stuff, which is largely acoustic guitar based. And this is one where Jimmy LaValle did the music, and it's mostly electronic, a bit glitchy, and Mark's voice and his storytelling is just superb. Over the last, I think it's since the Among the Leaves album, he's really put himself out there in a different way. His lyrics are now very narrative, and they tell stories, and they may seem like the most mundane thing in the stories. They're just really heartbreaking, and they hit me personally really deeply. And one of the songs in particular is called You Missed My Heart, and I can just go out there saying to you guys that it is truly, in my opinion, one of the greatest songs written of all time. My girlfriend and I we were in LA in February, and we got to see Mark play at a church in downtown LA, and we were in the second row, and I'd never heard that song You Miss My Heart, but he did an acoustic version of it solo, and I just heard it just the one time, and I was completely blown away because I'd never heard it, and this album hadn't come out yet. And I was so blown away by the song, and then he announced that it was on this upcoming album. There's a version of it on the Live in Melbourne CD, which I'm going to have a link to, because both versions, this one, which is more electronic based, and then his live version, are so heartbreaking. It's the story of a guy who finds either his girlfriend or wife cheating on him, and he goes in to the house, and it's a sad story about a crime of passion. He goes to prison, and it just the whole story and how he reflects on his life. And what's like the Bill Fay album, the albums represent to me life and death, and I think reflection on things in life, maybe lost opportunities, looking back nostalgically on childhood, and on death. And it's a really intense album. Another track on here called Gustavo is another one that, you know, he's telling the story of, he bought this house and he hired these workers from Mexico that were in the country illegally to do repairs on his house and fix it up. And he tells the story of them, and it's just so mind-blowing how you get so hooked into it and you feel it, and it's heartbreaking. And a track on a track called Ceiling Gazing, which is just kind of about, in one regards, it's about life's trials, tribulations, death, and he does it in such a way that's so beautifully poetic, and it just grabs you by the heart. And the closing track, Somehow the Wonder of Life Prevails, I think is just, it's just so intense. And like I said, it was supposed to come out on vinyl back in June, but it kept getting delayed, and then that never actually even happened. But the lyrics are in this, and I'll tell you, the songs are sprawling and pretty lengthy, but it is worth every second of your time. And yeah, Mark Kozelek and Jimmy LaValle, Perils from the Sea, my absolute favorite album of 2013. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. It was really intense putting this list together. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you have to limit yourself to 10. It really makes you focus. I revisited everything multiple times just to make sure I really felt this way about these albums. And so like I said, I'm going to link down. Please check that link out. People in the vinyl community, Anthony, Rick James, Buttery, my friend Brent has a list, Dream Pop Jesse, James Todd, and some other good friends of mine. So be sure to check that out, guys. Thanks for watching, and happy holidays.